Vážení návštevníci, dámy a páni, dobrý deň všetkým vám, ktorí ste prišli opäť po obede sem do Kulturparku a rozhodli ste sa spolu s nami absolvovať tento maratón technologických inovácií a prednášok. Ste na najväčšej konferencii na Slovensku a tá vám prináša naozaj množstvo inovácií od vývojárov, inovátorov až po technologických nadšencov. Medzi troma sálami sa môžete pohybovať. Teraz sa nachádzate v sále číslo 2, ktorá nesie šarmantný podnázov Home Tech a preto sa budeme venovať smart domácnostiam a už sme sa im aj venovali v prvej časti v rámci dnešného doobednejšieho bloku, ale teraz už rozbiehame druhý blok a verte tomu, že máme pre vás veľmi sľubné témy. Budeme hovoriť o budúcnosti gamingu v obývačke, ale nevynecháme ani prelievanie energie. Ukážeme vám napríklad aj betón, ktorý môže byť veľmi štýlovým stavebným materiálom a možno, že sa na ňo pozriete aj inak ako doteraz a taktiež vás prevedieme aj svetom bez ľudí, ktorí by teoreticky mohli riadiť technológie. Či vôbec taký svet je možné, aby existoval. Je dôležité povedať, že na každom kroku nás naozaj sprevádzajú technológie a všetci to dobre vieme, že začína sa už od maličkých detí, už aj tie vedia chytiť do ruky smartfón, počítač, tablet alebo konzolu a sú to čoraz mladšie deti. A je pravdou, že ak nie sú správne vedené a korigované, tak sa to môže veľmi výrazne podpísať aj na ich psychickom zdraví, pretože môžu vznikať rôzne závislosti a z tých sa potom veľmi ťažko dostáva. A nie je to, povedzme si, aj veľmi vhodným štartom do života. Ale zas naopak, ak vieme rozumne korigovať dané možnosti a náhodou nestrácame kontrolu, tak sa vie celá rodina veľmi pekne stmeliť v obývačke pri hrách, a dnes už nie ani veľmi spoločenských, ale skôr tých technologických, tých počítačových. Virtuálna realita, rozšírená realita, umelá inteligencia, cloud gaming, inovované modely hardverov. Aká bude vlastne naša budúcnosť v obývačkách? To už nám povie Peter Nagy, ktorý založil prvú slovenskú vydavateľskú spoločnosť Greenstone a patrí medzi najskúsenejších hráčov alebo ľudí v oblasti herného priemyslu na Slovensku. Takže tie skúsenosti rozhodne má pre vás pripravené v tejto chvíli. A prosím, využívate aj slajdo, aby ste sa ho mohli opýtať na to, čo vás zaujíma. Je to vaše, Peter.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and for the nice introduction. So let me tell you a little bit about future of gaming, which nobody knows what it's going to be, but maybe you can guess. So clicker is working. So now the question is like, who am I? Why I'm trying to kind of give you some insight into the future of gaming and game dev. So I am founder of the Games Farm, which is the longest running game development studio in Slovakia, which we founded in 2001. I am founder of Grindstone, which is the publishing company, so a publisher in Slovakia, focusing on the releasing computer games across the world. I am one of the co-founders of the Slovakian Game Developer Association, which connects the developers in Slovakia. Founder of the Game Dev Košice, which is a regional initiative for improving the game dev industry in our region. And the Game Days, founder of the Game Days, which is the conference running here in this space in basically beginning of November this year and for 8 years already. I worked on more than 25 full released games as a kind of creative director, and I participated in many other games as well. I was awarded by Slovakian Game of the Year for 2017-2018, and since then we didn't release anything, so just don't be confused by the gap there. And I'm speaker at many events, and thank you very much for this opportunity to be here. Now, the question is, why is this going to be a visionary talk? To be honest, it's not going to be that much of a visionary talk because I'm not that much of the technology deep person. I think it would be the other stage around. But I may have my nature is more about like asking the questions and maybe like looking for the answers. And as being a creative person myself, I try to connect and I love to create the opportunities and create something. So let's try to go back to the living room and the topic of the what we have here, which is the purpose of the living room. Now, many of you may just like you come there and sit down and watch TV. That's like the nature of the current of the living room. But what was the original living room? I think it was mainly the social experience. It was to connect the people. People were coming together. There were no radios, no TVs. So that was the primary purpose of the living room. And obviously, it changed a lot over the last 100 years. So at first, it was really connecting people. Now it's much more getting with the technology updates. There was radio, so people were listening to the radio and becoming great consumers, so they can consume better, get the information, and improve their performance. So now we have TVs. Nowadays, we have the internet, which is changing the experience of the living room substantially, as you all know. But it's always about connecting, getting the information from other people, about having the social experience. So there are obviously two key elements of the entire transformation of the living room, and it's one which we have seen just recently is the technology progress, which has been a substantial over the last 130 years. And the other one is the social and demographic transformation, which has maybe even bigger impact. But it's all very connected, so it's not one or the other. It works together, one hand in hand. So what you can tell about how to quantify the technology evolution, which you can see and witness in your living room. Basically, maybe some of you, or maybe all of you, have heard about the Moore's law. So that's one of the key drivers behind the technology evolution, which says basically that it's that the amount of number of microprocessors increases, doubles basically every 2 years. So this has been in work for last 50 years, and it works. So you can see the graph, it works. But what's really behind the progress and the innovation? Well, it's something completely different. It's basically the greed. And why the greed? Because it's it allows the big companies to invest a massive amount of money into the development of the technologies, obviously to earn more money and become more profitable, and so that CEOs can pay the bigger paychecks. So it's always the money drives the progress, and without the money and without the greed, we wouldn't have the technology which we have at the moment. So it's also for consideration whether the greed is one of the deadly sins, can be also one of the drivers of the evolution. But that's another topic. So the question is for the living room today as to how it's looking. Like you all have the most likely living room in your houses or homes. But for me, actually, it was one of a very big challenge when I was trying to find a living room nowadays on the internet that just like to find the real one, because you know that with the progress of AI, I mean, there are tons of living rooms out there, and I'm really not sure like which one is the real one or it's just the fake created by AI. I mean, you can still see some different resemblances, but it might be some of these might be real ones. But at certain point, we are getting to the point that we are unable to distinguish what's real and what's not real. So this one may be real, or maybe not, I don't know. So it's kind of difficult to say. So I just found this one as maybe looks the most real to me and kind of resembles the one which we have at home. I actually wanted to take a picture of my living room, but I would have to clean up and tidy, and it was kind of lazy person, so I used some help of the internet. Anyway, so now the question which we are trying to find the answer to is the tomorrow, like what's going to bring the tomorrow. And obviously, this is something where you will be, we are all looking for the new social experiences. I mean, the key is the social. So we all know about AR, VR, I don't know, XR, cloud gaming, whatever. I mean, there are many technologies which will become basically part of our homes, And maybe some of you remember this like kind of classic scene. I mean, it's not really like playing the movies, so unfortunately, seems like the movies are not played. But this was the classic scene from Star Wars, where this is the first AR projection, one of the first AR visionaries for how the AR could be displayed in the living room. I mean, it was like very weird living room, but still. And this is actually very recent imagination of basically the augmented reality for the living rooms today. So it's kind of different, and to be honest, I would prefer the previous one, but you know, the technology can't be stopped. So this is the I think it's called the living room application, and it will be released later, I think this year, or maybe the next one. Anyway, I don't have the video, so I mean, unfortunately, these videos don't show exactly the imagination. But this one in particular might be one of the better usage of how it's going to work. So basically, if you have real 3D screen which kind of projects the image to any direction, and it changes in every way from the direction you are looking from, but at the same time, it's kind of computation heavy. So we are coming back to the Moore's law, which kind of affects this perception and projection. So, but in the end, it's still just the screen and TV. So the living room will not change that much, I would say. So how would the living room look like day after tomorrow, maybe? So maybe you have heard about the metaverse. I mean, it's kind of the world behind our world, where you can go and do basically the shopping and create an alternate reality where you can just like put your glasses on. There is a lot of progress, and I mean, it's a wonderful idea, obviously. Like, imagine like living in this beautiful kind of sceneries where you can just travel from one point of the world to another. And where the biggest companies, driven by what else than trying to increase their performance and sales. Trying to implement this metaverse, and well, it's not that much like impressive, to be honest. I mean, this is the first presentation of the metaverse from Facebook after pouring a lot of billions into the development, which kind of makes it questionable of how this was really about the utilization of the resources. But obviously it cost Facebook a lot of value, money, and reputation as well. They even changed their name from Facebook to Meta, which kind of is silly, especially like in what they have been presenting. But sometimes there are other deadly sins as well involved. So anyway, it didn't work that much so far. So we are still, most likely will be still in the same living rooms for a while. And the question is when we can enter the metaverse. That's a good question, but in my opinion, I mean, it's just my personal opinion, the metaverse started the 1st of January of 1993 and evolves for like 41 years, and we call it internet, right? You have it all in your pockets, and it really changes our living rooms a lot, and brings the people together, maybe in ways we didn't really anticipate or like was never planned to, but it's part of the evolution process. So there are a lot of other projections as well, like how could everything look like. You can see maybe some kind of holographic projection even here. This one, I mean, it's just still the rotating blades which are just projecting the 2D image. So it's not that much of a holographic projection, but to an extent it can illustrate what it could be once it is done properly. Neural implants, of course, that's like so impressive. If you can imagine that you can just like plug into the internet and like go into the metaverse and like be really part of the alternate reality. But at the same time, it should count, because like if this alternate reality will look like that one, it's kind of not that much engaging. And to be honest, I would prefer to stay in our current living room, to be honest. So also the question is like why the gaming is relevant for the living room today. It kind of comes with a demographic change, which you may have seen over the recent years. Maybe you have been complaining about it, but again, it's part of the unavoidable evolution. So I just wanted to share with you some brief numbers. As you can see, like in the last 9 years, the amount of gamers went from 2 billion to 3.5 billion, which is a substantial demographic offset. And the question is obviously also why this demographic shift is happening. So it's not because of the living rooms, but because of your mobile phones, which you have in your pockets. As you can see here, this red part of the graph is how mobile ascended from just like being very tiny part of the gaming into creating a completely new market for the games. And just to tell you that it's not only young people who are playing, it's actually the older people are getting, the younger generation are becoming older, and they are playing more and more. So it's just will unavoidable increase the amount of gamers, which means that also the game development and game production is becoming a more lucrative business, which is growing year over year. And the same myth is that only men play. It's not true, at least not in a global scale. So it's quite equal, especially like if you imagine like women, they can enjoy. They have very special games, which may not apply to men, but it's just the segmentation of the market. So if you are interested more in games and game development, we organize the conference, which is called Game Days. You can go to the booth in here where my colleagues are. Can you tell you a little bit more about the conference? It's 7th to 9th of November here in this very venue. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer.
Ja sa musím priznať, že som bola veľmi prekvapená, keď ste sa priznali, že tie fotografie tých nádherných futuristických obývačiek, ktoré vyzerali ako veľké moderné herne, že nie sú vaše tie fotografie. Bo som si myslela, že takto vyzerá tak obývačka človeka, ktorý je taký najvýznamnejší hráč v oblasti gamingu na Slovensku. Ale zase musíme si povedať, že nie každý má to šťastie, aby v rámci svojho pracovného času sa mohol hrať.
To je ďalší mýtus. Reálne, úprimne povedané, ja sa veľmi už nehrám, jednoducho na to nemám čas. A keď sa hrám, tak sa hrám primárne naše hry. Je to trošku problém sklobiť všetky operatívne veci, biznis a prácu a rodinu a tak, takže tam toho času na hry už ostáva veľmi málo.
Tak verím, že sa spoločnosti Greenstone, za ktorú ste tu dnes vystúpili, bude dariť. Peter Naď, ďakujeme.
Ďakujem veľmi pekne.